Maybe I should unmute myself. Hey, folks, what's going on? It's me, Andrew Westmoreland, back again with another stream. Ooh, things are getting weird and spicy again. Getting really weird. Oh, man. Let's see. So, just starting out here, it's going to be a little slow at first, but I want to get into this as soon as possible. So just want to check and make sure everyone's doing okay today. How are y'all doing? Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? I said the other day, I really enjoy how the new tech and stuff, it just like back in the day, you'd just be talking for hours and have, you friends and on Discord and stuff go in a chat and it'll just be off. And they're like, oh crap, I was muted for like 30 minutes. Yeah, you were, bro. Thankfully, this stuff immediately comes on and let me know that I'm muted. So, they're doing the thing again. The thing that we supposedly settled, I don't know, like 150 plus years ago. You might know it. It's called the Civil War. I thought we fixed that. I thought we stopped it. So I want to get straight into this. Let me share my screen. I think it's this one. Yeah. There you go. This is crazy. This is the mayor of Chicago, Mayor Johnson.
This administration is trying to divide us and pit people groups against one another. They want to divide and conquer. And as I said, in the South Shore, and this has been said very clearly, Black people in one van and immigrants in another. In the face of this unprecedented threat, this moment calls for unity. Black, brown, white, Asian, young, old, north side, west side, south side, we must all pull aside our differences and defend one another. Because if we allow this to continue to be unchecked, by the time we realize what's happening, it'll be too late. And this executive order is a step towards accountability and is calling for the basic rule of law. In the coming days and
but I don't agree.
Weeks, we may be pushed, if not forced, to take even more dramatic action if this administration continues to escalate and provoke our people.
But provoke the people? All right, let's continue.
In closing, last night I spoke with the governor, and he informed me that the Trump administration is deploying Texas National Guard to our city.
Yeah.
We will speak to our response later today. We'll do that with the governor as well as the attorney general. For now, let me just say that we are unequivocally going to continue to reject the military occupation of our city.
The military occupation of our city.
The Trump administration must end the war on Chicago.
Wow.
The Trump administration must
end
the
war on Chicago. You mean the war that has been ongoing in your city for years? Like Chicago's a war zone. There are people who are war veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan that say that those war zones were safer than Chicago in certain neighborhoods. Like, come on, bro. Who are you fooling here?
This war against Americans, the Trump administration must end its attempt to dismantle our democracy.
What?
Bruh. Bruh. Bruh.
Right as we are making historic progress in reducing violence, the Trump administration is seeking to destabilize our city and provoke chaos. We said that they would use ICE as a pretext to send in the National Guard. And now they are doing just that. I've also said for the last couple of years that the extreme right in this country refused to accept the results of the Civil War.
What?
She's a stupid bitch.
Are you serious? The right wing hasn't accepted the results of the Civil War. Hey, how you doing, Lance Corporal veteran? I am just like, yes, delusional. They're delusional. No, get them out. I just, oh yeah, the lady up here. Yeah, yep, she has a septum piercing. I'm literally like tearing up from laughing so hard. What is happening? Wait a minute. Okay, all right, let's get back on track. Okay. This man, I gotta roll that back.
Said for the last couple of years that the extreme right in this country refused to accept the results of the Civil War.
She's a stupid bitch.
Bruh.
They have repeatedly called for a rematch. But in the coming weeks, we will use this
Delusional.
opportunity to build greater resistance. Chicagoans are clear. Militarizing our troops in our city as justification to further escalate a war in Chicago will not be tolerated. The past teaches us that just because
This
we
is
are on the right
insane.
side of history, that doesn't mean that we will succeed. It's going to take courage and determination, bravery, unity. But one thing that I know for sure in this great nation, this moment that we are in,
They're not on the right
Chicago
side of
was
history,
built
though.
for this moment. Immigrants from around the world, descendants of slaves, have come to this city to make it the global capital of the world. And now we stand in a moment that is testing our very humanity, and the city of Chicago will stand the test of time. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's talk about this for a second. Hold on, let me fix that. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, we already saw this movie. We did. There's a lot of things that I can take and I can just be like, okay, there, whatever. But I'm sorry. I'm literally laughing uncontrollably at just how absurd that man's statements just were. Like, are we serious right now? So let's break down what he's announcing with his executive order or mayoral decree. I don't know what you would call it for, when a mayor puts out an order, I guess. He announced ice-free zones. Yes, you heard that correctly. He is saying that it will be illegal for ICE to use any public lands in Chicago for federal activities for regarding immigration, customs, border enforcement stuff. So any public parks, anything that's public, that they're basically just saying no. And in fact, there's another part to this speech. I think the first half, I saw a clip where he was saying he encourages local businesses also to not get involved and not support this and just say no. So I'm like, I think we're getting to a point when we need to have a conversation about what we call this. Let me bump that up for a second. global capital. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about either. And yes, New York City is supposed to be the America's financial capital. Yes, that's correct. Oh man, that's wild. All right, let's do the next part because we are absolutely in unprecedented times here. I will tell you, it's for as terrifying as everything is. This is actually quite entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. Insurrection Act.
over a weekend. What?
The Insurrection Act, under what conditions or terms would you?
Well, I do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an insurrection act for a reason.
Do it.
If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are safe over a weekend.
All right, so let's talk about that. Insurrection Act. Oh man, we've been talking about this and calling for this for years. Like some of y'all in chat, we have been talking about this for years on this channel. We're like way past it. You know, back in 2020 during the George Floyd riots, we were talking about why isn't the president using the Insurrection Act? And this is one of the biggest criticisms I have of Trump. He is way too weak sauce when it comes to trying to solve for these problems, trying to fix these things. I think he's way too concerned about the optics of the situations. He's afraid that they're going to be mean to him and call him bad names, and that he's going to be remembered in history as this tyrant or something. And I'm like, dude, we're way past that. He's got to let that go. I am advocating for the lawful use of power and authority. He won a total mandate with this election. He has all three branches of government that he controls. Well, you know what I mean. His party controls. There's no point in holding back anymore. But let me explain what I think is happening too with that. So if you notice, in Portland and Chicago and LA, the feds, ICE and all the other feds that are in the area that are trying to back up these facilities, they are basically doing nothing. They're only making arrests when physical assaults happening, assault and batteries and all that stuff are happening on the law enforcement, on the feds, and they'll just like do these little random arrests. I honestly, I hate to say it like this, but you just heard the clip. What did he say in the middle here? Hold on.
Do that. If people were being killed and
there you go. If people were being killed, he just showed his hand a little bit. And it's exactly the only logical thing I can think of why he isn't just immediately doing this. I really hate to say it, but I think they're waiting for the left to escalate, kill a couple of ICE agents, FBI agents, whoever's over there. I think they're gonna basically let the left be violent, and once a couple of these feds are killed, they're just gonna crack down hard. Bam. It will be a total justification to just completely go in and clean house. Because right now it's just low-level assaults, and I mean, honestly, me personally, I would have already done it. To me, that's playing an optics game, and we want to prevent people from these law enforcement officers from being put in harm's way and being killed, and by not acting, it's only going to escalate this. One step closer to conventional war. Yes, it is. Dealmaker first and hammer second. Yeah. That's another part of the problem is the local governments. They're not cooperating with ICE. It's beyond that now. We just saw the mayor of Chicago. At a certain point, we have to call it rebellion, insurrection. Because it is. It's one thing if you just say, hey, we're not gonna, we're gonna do the hands-off approach. These are federal laws, y'all, and you're gonna enforce them, whatever. We're just not gonna assist you. That's different. That's just passive resistance. When you are actively resisting federal law and obstructing federal enforcement of law, that's insurrection. When you have governments fighting the government, it's insurrection. And again, we've already done this before, right? We already did the thing before, and we figured out after 1865 that no, states and localities do not have the authority to override the federal government. Okay, so what are we doing here? What is this?
I'm just going to say it. I think if President Trump were to invoke the Insurrection Act for these specific cases and for this specific enforcement power, I think America would be behind him. The same way that the same country that voted for Nixon in 68 and 72, the same people who can see the abject violence out there, I think America would be for it. I totally do.
I thought it should have happened in 2020.
I agree.
Yeah. See? And that's a lot of us were saying that, like, dude, our country's on fire. During the 2020 George Floyd riots, they're rioting for a career criminal, drug addict who just committed a felony by trying to use counterfeit money, who has a history of armed robbery, pointing a gun towards the belly of a pregnant woman. The country burned. 100 cities and towns were on fire with rioting and looting and arsons because of that criminal. And if ever there was a time to invoke the Insurrection Act, it should have been then. And they should have been authorized to use lethal force, the National Guard and police. At a certain point, it's like, okay, guys, what are we doing here? You know that we can't just keep letting them riot, because what's happening is these leftists and far leftists, I mean, it used to be just the far left, right? Now what we're actively dealing with is these are just run-of-the-mill Democrats who are out here rioting and attacking ICE. That's insane. That's how far gone this has gotten. And at a certain point, we're going to have to just say, like, we have to crack down on this. And unfortunately, it's going to get ugly. People are going to be killed. It's not that we want this to happen. We don't want this to happen at all. In fact, people like me on this channel, what is it, 8 years now? I've been saying and warning, hey, we're getting close to a civil war. There's a lot of stuff happening here. I think we might have a civil war brewing. A lot of people were saying the same thing. We all got laughed at for years. And it wasn't until maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it started to go mainstream when Civil War started trending on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. They made a movie, Hollywood movie about Civil War. All this stuff started happening. People were like, maybe we should take this serious. And it hasn't stopped. Nothing has de-escalated. The temperature hasn't cooled down. It's only continuing to get worse. It's pretty scary. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Just trying to check my dashboard and all this stuff, making sure everything is good across the board. Looks like all streams are good to go. Kick, YouTube, X. Got it. All right. Chicago and Portland, not going to like it when the crayon eaters start showing up. Yeah, not just the crayon eaters, but when they have their, service weapons, and they're authorized to use it against the people throwing rocks at them. First of all, let's talk about the rock thing for a second. I've heard people, they were not understanding why people were advocating for lethal force against the rioters and violent protesters who are throwing rocks and bricks and stuff at the police. And they're like, well, they're wearing body armor and riot gear. They're fine. And I'm like, so that the logic isn't logicking, because a rock is a lethal weapon, right? David and Goliath, one of the most famous Bible stories. He used a rock to kill the giant with the slingshot, but point is, okay, so the logic here is, well, they're throwing rocks at the riot police and they're wearing armor, so it's fine. Okay, so are you advocating that if you shoot at the police because they're wearing bulletproof vests, it's fine, they're not allowed to shoot you back? It's like, no, of course not. This is ridiculous. In fact, I think we've been incredibly restrained and incredibly way too passive. I'm gonna be honest here. I don't think anywhere else in the world is anywhere near as forgiving as the U.S. the U.S. police and the U.S. Law enforcement are in general. But it's just not even close. If you see any kind of civil unrest anywhere in the world, they're like beating the crap out of people. And we've been giving them so much leeway, and it's just completely ridiculous. Like, at no point should law enforcement be completely barraged with rocks and stones and bricks, and they're not using lethal force. They should be shooting them immediately. They're throwing rocks. Especially, you remember those when the ICE insurrections and protests were happening during the summer, when they were flying the Palestinian flags and the Mexican flags, and they were on highway overpasses throwing rocks and bricks and cinder blocks down on the law enforcement, like on the down on the highway, throwing it from a height. So they're picking up speed and momentum. It's lethal force. They should have used defensive lethal force to end the threat. And for whatever reason, they're just not. I don't get it. I honestly, I don't get it. Lance Corporal Veteran says, a historian said a second event will kick it off, but for a while the fractured leftist leadership prevented a unified narrative to let it happen. The Chicago mayor just gave them their narrative. Yeah, I've seen a couple of things. I think I know which video you're talking about and which historian. I believe she's on TikTok. I cannot remember her name for the life of me, but I saw it circulating around, and she had really good insight after the Charlie Kirk assassination, and she's on point with her predictions. Yeah, it's not going to stop. There's no off ramp to use other people's phrases. It's just going to keep happening. It's going to keep ratcheting up, and yes, we're going to have more negative events happening. And yes, I believe in her video she said another assassination will happen. Excuse me. And then it'll just be it'll be completely fucked. Getting hit in the head is yes. It's lethal force. They're using lethal force against law enforcement, and the law enforcement is like, well, I guess the optics is we can't really do anything because if we start shooting the protesters, we instantly lose and it'll cause riots. And I'm like, well, there's a way to do it, right? There's a way to do it. You can. Oh, here he goes. That thing I do is her at. If you go on TikTok at That Thing I Do, Lance Corporal veteran, check her out. She's amazing. So, oh man, it's just like, okay, so at a certain point, you got to sit here and say, you're allowed to use defensive force, violent force, up to and including lethal force against people who are doing the same to you. Let's see. Yeah, I should probably do this. Somebody type something in chat real quick, because I'm like manually clicking these. I don't care what you type. Well, you can type whatever doesn't get you banned, I guess. Type something in chat real quick. I'm putting up this banner on the side. It should auto scroll. Hell, I can do that too. Yeah, there you go. Okay, good. That's what I wanted to do. What was I talking about? Yeah, herp derp. Yeah. In all seriousness, no. I mean, we have this problem where we're trying to figure out how do we stop these continuing negative events from happening, and you have to be able to use lethal force. And it's, I'm not saying like do something completely outrageous and dramatic and authoritarian and, you know, tyrannical, where you just like, it was in Turkey. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot about this one. I don't know if y'all remember, I think maybe Turkey 10 years ago. Yeah, the Twitter chat isn't showing. I don't even know. Is there anyone typing in Twitter? Let me type. Let me test. No, it popped up. Popped up for me. I just don't think a lot of people are typing in the Twitter. But what the hell was I saying? Oh my gosh, sorry. There was an incident in Turkey. There was basically a coup, and it was a huge thing. People were streaming videos and stuff, and it went directly into right on the feed. And I'm pretty sure it was Turkey. Basically, helicopters were flying through the streets, literally mowing down the protesters and the insurrectionists, whatever you want to call them. I believe they even broke into a news station. They were trying to basically take over the government, and it was a failed revolution, failed coup, and they just mowed down everybody. Thousands of people died. And we still don't, to my knowledge, we still don't know the full effect of that. I'm not advocating for anything like that, of course. I'm saying if these people are attacking the cops, the ICE agents and all that stuff, they have a lawful right to use lethal force. Now, obviously, it's one of these things like optically, obviously, you want to try and arrest these people and stuff and just declare it a riot, use the tear gas, pepper spray, rubber bullets, and arrest them all is what you need to do. That's the best outcome, right? We want these people arrested, tried, and convicted of terrorism and locked away for like 20 years, the violent ones. That's like minimal. Let's continue. Let's see what other people have to say about this. The Insurrection Act gives President Trump specific powers. It gives the president the power to deploy the U.S. military and federalize the National Guard to suppress insurrections, enforce federal law, and quell domestic violence in specific extreme circumstances. This power is a key exception to the Posse Comitatus Act, which generally prohibits the use of military for domestic law enforcement. So, yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you have to make that call, and you're going to have to say when. If not now, then when? When are we going to do this? And I honestly do think they're waiting for federal law enforcement to start taking direct fire, for them to start like shot and injured before they actually do this. Does your chat role only do verified accounts? I don't believe so. Unless you're talking about X. So hard to read this on this screen. It was a military battalion that revolted. They were trapped on a bridge checkpoint alongside civilians, and the Air Force strafed them. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I remember that. If I remember correctly, there was some tanks or APCs, and basically they're all celebrating together. Like, you know, that battalion they were on the side of the civilians, and they were basically like working on trying to basically take over the government, and they just got annihilated. They just went in and killed everybody. Pretty much everybody that was in the area. They killed thousands of people. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. I see some chat in X right now, and it doesn't automatically pop up here. Huh. That's something I'm going to have to try to play with later, because I don't know. I don't know if I can fix that. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. The president can invoke the Insurrection Act under 3 primary scenarios outlined in Title 10 of the U.S. Code upon request from a state legislature or governor to suppress an insurrection against state government. This is key. Okay, that's very important. So somebody has to ask for it, ask for help. Obviously, trying to get a state legislature to agree on anything, good luck. You're most likely going to get it's going to be a governor of a state. It also says to enforce federal law when it's impossible to do so through ordinary judicial means due to unlawful obstructions, combinations, or assemblages, that's such a weird word, or rebellion. I mean, it's just obvious, right? So I think we're meeting these criteria already. You only need one of these, and we're meeting multiple already. To suppress domestic violence, unlawful combinations, or conspiracies in a state that hinder the execution of state, key word there, of state or federal laws, and deprive individuals of their constitutional rights, particularly when state authorities fail to act. I mean, I don't know. It's literally what's happening right now. It's literally happening right now. All of those are being met, except for the fact that a state legislator or governor is asking for the help. That's the only one, but that's not a requirement. All the other important ones, it's all happening right now. Any major left-wing city where we've been experiencing this for a decade plus, it's anarcho-tyranny. I had some people in comments on one of the last video or the last stream I did talking about anarcho-tyranny. And they're trying to say, like, you don't know what tyranny means, or you don't know what anarchy means. And it's like, yeah, I don't think you understand what the term means. I literally explained it. They were trying to justify and say that anarchy doesn't mean lack of government and chaos. And I'm like, it literally does. But whatever. We've been experiencing anarcho-tyranny for some time now. It's very scary. Actually, it's essentially the short explanation of what it is you're a law-abiding citizen and you do a minor infraction and the government comes after you full force, like you're a murderer. But the flip side, they will have marginalized people or these poors or these degenerates or, the criminal class. Well, that person is, has a rap sheet a mile long, and they've been, caught stealing and all this stuff since they were like 15, and that's all they know. Like, well, they're just a poor, degenerate criminal, low class person, but you're that esteemed citizen. You know better than to speed. So we're going to give you 6 months in jail and a $10,000 fine because you were 10 miles an hour on speed. That's the crux of what anarcho tyranny is. You, the average law abiding citizen, are getting hit with the law, but the actual criminals are allowed to just run free. So it creates this imbalance where the government is not actually working for the people; they're working for the criminals. It's a crazy, crazy scenario, and it just leads to chaos. We saw that in several of the communist, socialist states. It was a way to seize power. So, to enforce federal law when it's impossible to do so through ordinary judicial means. So we have that, right? So there's federal law that's been on the books for quite some time. Like, it's against federal law to smoke weed. I know some of my viewers might be cannabis users. It's against federal law, right? So when a state says, oh, it's legalized here, and you can open your dispensaries and all this stuff, and you can go to the head shops and you can sell weed, the feds can and do stings and stuff and do crackdowns, and they'll come in and seize all of the drugs and arrest the owners. They do it quite frequently, actually. DEA and all that stuff will come in, and they can. It's federal law. They're enforcing federal law. But then you have these states that are starting to obstruct. They're not just saying, well, it's your law, not ours, so it's cool. No, they're actually obstructing. It's a rebellion. I really do. This is getting to rebellion levels. When you have mayors and governors saying that not only will we not assist the federal government in enforcing, immigration law, they're actually, again, they're obstructing. To suppress domestic violence. Well, I mean, we're a couple of these cities, right? We've met that threshold for sure. No questions asked. Unlawful combinations or conspiracies in a state that hinder the execution of state or federal laws and deprive individuals of their constitutional rights, particularly when state authorities fail to act. So this would be that recent example, that murderer, convicted murderer. Well, I think I have to take that back. I believe he was not technically convicted of murder. He killed that 6-year-old boy, stabbed him to death. I believe he was found not guilty of the murder by reason of insanity, but he was convicted of assaults and attempted murder or something like that. And he got released. He did like 7 or 8 years out of like a 20-year sentence. Yeah. That would be that right there. It's like the spirit of the law, the entire purpose of why the government is supposed to be here and to do all these things to help and protect the citizens. They're not. They're doing the quite opposite. They're actually harming the community. This would be that time when you say, well, what does this look like? How would you enforce the Insurrection Act? You send in, you activate the military, the actual military. You activate the Marines, the Army. Okay. You can get the Air Force involved if you want, just to show force. You can get the Navy involved as well if it's a coastal area. And you get multiple federal law enforcement agencies involved. You're going to use the NSA for intel. You're going to use the FBI. You're going to use your ICE, Border Patrol, all that stuff. ATF, whatever you need to use. And then it's a coordinated effort. You go into Chicago, you go into New York City, you go into Portland, you go into LA, and it's a multi-step process, right? You're going to arrest the protesters, the violent protesters, the rioters, the Antifa types who are attacking law enforcement and federal agents. You're going to arrest those people, but it's an insurrection. So it's more than just random people rioting, right? You're going to arrest the mayors, the ones who are in open rebellion. You arrest the mayors, you arrest the city council members who are also supporting this stuff. You would arrest the city clerk, all of these different things, right? Everyone who is actively acting in rebellion. You're going to have to do some stuff. I mean, this is going to be, it's unprecedented, right? Like we had this around the Civil War era. Senators and House representatives were being arrested at some point. We're not quite there at that point, but we're getting there. You're gonna have to arrest a couple governors too. I'm serious when I say this, and I know that's a red line. Like once you start arresting governors, it's kind of like you have to go all in, right? You have to go all in. You have to be committed. Like you want this to stop, right? You want America to be stabilized. You want it to go back to like how it was in the 80s or 90s. This is how you do it. And unfortunately, that's going to be another decade, 20 years of it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy here. But yeah, you're going to have to arrest those mayors and those governors if they're actively obstructing. Well, let me get to some of these comments. Anarcho-tyranny started with Obama. Honestly, I would say it was before Obama. I think it started in the 90s. People older than me would probably say it started in the 80s and the 70s, but we could keep going back. But it really, really got big in the last 10, 15 years. Yeah, literally the definition of anarchy is a lack of government and governance. I understand that, but the people who are commenting are like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, I guess they're anarchists or something. It's like, I don't. My opinion was anarchy doesn't really exist. It's kind of one of these things like anarchy lasts for quick flashpoints. True anarchy is you're a single person and you're basically living out in the woods. That's anarchy. When you start adding people together, it's not an anarchy because you form a government. Just like a family is a government, essentially. Like the children don't have any voice or any real, say in these things. It's usually the parents who are in charge, right? That's a government. That's the smallest form of government as a family. So it's like I don't think these people understand. Lance Corporal veteran says medieval Europe had nobility who became robber barons either because they were poor with men and weapons, and they had the means to do so because they were greedy, and also became same happened in China. Sorry. Almost every revolt or revolution has only been able to get off the ground because of collusion between criminals and citizens or local government and criminals. This helped facilitate the means to fight. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Arming. Yep. Okay. Let's keep at this. Let's see what else we got. Yeah.
Bit out of hand. Do you guys mind if I pick a little bone with House Republicans, particularly in their leadership? Speaker Mike Johnson, Jim Jordan, and the rest of them, because this is getting a little bit out of hand. Speaker Johnson, why have you not started the process of impeaching these federal judges who've been holding the American people hostage to a judicial insurrection since the day that Donald Trump took office? Nearly every single day since the Trump administration took office, they have had to fight tooth and nail against a very well-coordinated group of district judges who are willing to do everything in their power to block, to restrain, to slow down, to frustrate, and even in some cases violate constitutional law in order to stop the Trump agenda from making it through. We have
Right. So, and this is what, you know, me and quite a few other people have been saying as well, is like, at a certain point, you're saying like, okay, why are we letting these judges just get away with, they're violating the law, they're violating the Constitution, the spirit of the law, just because they hate Trump and they're Democrats? Like, they're very obviously Democrats. And it's like, no, you can't do that. Well, they're a judge, they're allowed to just make these random, you know, rulings whenever they want. And it's you know, we're starting to clamp down on some of that stuff, and it's the only way we're gonna have to move forward. Is we're gonna have to do a rehaul, right? God, I think I was in high school, and I said we needed to update the Constitution back then. This is back in the early to mid 2000s, and I said, you know, it's the Constitution isn't cutting it as it is. It's way too vague, and it doesn't address any of our modern issues. And it just, as I've aged, it's only gotten worse. It's completely gotten worse. And I think a lot of people want the Constitution to exist. They want it to survive, but we're at this point now where it's basically a meaningless piece of paper. Oh, that's a cool piece of history, but you know, we just set that aside. We're not really worried about that. We're just going to go and do what we want to do. And like, we had an election to solve for this, right? We had an election. Trump won the election, and these judges are obstructing every step of the way. It's like, no, you're not allowed to do that. Okay. It's not like what he's doing is actually illegal. They're claiming everything he's doing illegal, but it's like, what are you talking about? You know, Democrats just did it last term, and then everyone before that did these same things. There's only a couple of things where I would say, okay, this is like an unprecedented move. This is something new. By all means, you know, if you're going to make that ruling, you know, justify it, of course. But we're talking about like literally every action he's doing, they're trying to say he can't do it. It's like, no, he's the president. It's a constitutionally protected power. Like, fuck off. Like, what are we doing here?
federal judges who are ignoring Supreme Court rulings and are issuing nationwide restraining orders despite the Supreme Court telling them they can't. We now have a federal judge out in Oregon who has issued 2 restraining orders blocking the Trump administration from being able to activate the National Guard, despite the fact that back in June, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed Donald Trump's statutory authority to do exactly that. Heck, there was even recent reporting that there was an entire district court that had as a policy to implement a temporary restraining order on every single case that came before it, regardless of the merits. They were just blocking things for the sake of blocking them. And yet, Speaker Johnson, you're not doing anything to stop them. Now, I know your argument is that you don't have enough votes in the Senate to actually remove these judges, but who cares? Democrats didn't have enough votes in the Senate to be able to remove Donald Trump, and yet they impeached him twice because Democrats are willing to play hardball, and they understand that the process is, in fact, the punishment. You see, Speaker Johnson, we realize that it takes a majority plus 1 vote in the House of Representatives to actually impeach somebody. And then
and he just made a really good point too. They were obstructing. This is a huge problem. Trump was almost entirely ineffective in his first term because they completely blocked him. You know, as the years have progressed, it was revealed and we learned that there is literally the deep state, right? These unelected bureaucrats and people who are just federal employees who are just Democrats, and they were literally gumming him up throughout his entire presidency. He would put out an order and say, okay, we're going to do this, just something, let's just say it's something stupid like, we're going to paint this federal building red. It's just random made up stuff. We're going to paint this building red. And they would be like, oh, okay, we're going to do that, Mr. President. And then secretly like, fuck him, you know, we're not going to do that. And they'll paint it blue or something. It was just like little things. And basically they were obstructing everything he was doing. They were in open rebellion. They were defying presidential decrees and orders, like in executive orders. I don't think people understand how far gone we are, like where we are on the line here, on the timeline. It's way more far gone than you think. If you just pull up Reddit for a second and just look at it. In fact, let's do that. I haven't been on Reddit in a while. I guarantee you, I'm going to pull up Reddit. And the Reddit homepage is going to be nothing but anti-Trump stuff. Let's see. How do I do this? I don't like the way this looks. What happened to the old way Reddit looked like? What the fuck? I'm sorry, hold on. I don't think that's working. All right, I'm going to share the screen anyway. Hold on. Is there a way I can... Someone who knows Reddit, tell me how to do this better. The traditional way, it would just scroll. It would show you all these different things all at the same time. This is like really messy looking. Card compact, best. Top, it should be top, right? What are the top things? No. Front line of the Portland war zone. Okay, that's political. Interesting. So the last time I was on here, I literally just organically checked Reddit and it was like 90% all Trump hate. And there's like nothing in here now. I mean, here's a couple. Literally, it says fuck Trump. It's like, okay, cool. This is political. MAGA turns on Country Star. Right. Maybe they actually started cleaning it up and trying to hide some of the stuff, because I'm telling you, the last time I was on Reddit, it was outrageous. It's like there's no way like Reddit is entirely just anti-Trump. As I scroll, it's starting to get more Trumpy. Here we go. Let's just click this. Trump threatens to invoke Insurrection Act in Portland. Let's read the comments. I wonder what it's going to say. Top comment. This is him throwing a goddamn tantrum. Blah, 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 blah. Cool, cool, cool. Where were all the motherfuckers of fear mongering? Look, I mean, just read these comments. They're just delusional. So here's the thing. This is the thing the left does. And you have to shield yourself from this. Do not fall into this trap. Please do not fall into this trap. They are the most slimy, swarmy, manipulative people on the planet right now. Is the modern left. They are creating a problem. First of all, for over a decade now, they said Trump is like literally Hitler, right? He is worse than Hitler. He's worse than Satan. He's a Nazi, right? Okay. None of this was even remotely true, right? So then what they started doing is they started ratcheting it up and getting more violent. Well, he's a Nazi and he's fascist. Oh my gosh, he's doing his job as president and this is literally fascism. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. They keep getting more and more violent. So it's forcing us to say, okay, whoa, y'all are getting a little wild here. We're going to have to crack down on you. Oh, see, we told you all along, he's Hitler. He's a Nazi. This is fascism. We told you he was a Nazi. It's like you never mind the fact that you've created this entire scenario. You've manufactured this problem the whole step of the way. And then now the only way that we could try to save our country is, we're going to have to get a little authoritarian. It's going to get a little scary. It's going to get a little violent. You've created that entire scenario. Look, I mean, it's a meme at this point, right? But it's true. Look at this one. Trump wants to invade Portland. They're delusional. Now, when you say invade Portland, I'm actually okay with that. You can go ahead and say it like that. Yeah, we're going to send in the troops and we're going to invade our own territory. We're going to reconquer. We're going to reclaim and liberate Portland. Night Fox Gaming, don't get any ideas about liberation. We'll talk offline. But yes, we need to send in the troops and liberate Portland. Yeah. So you can say invade all you want. That's fine. He's committing treason. It's like, no, he's not. No, he's not. The country legitimately cannot survive this. I knew Trump 2.0 was going to be bad, but he's exceeding my worst expectations by leaps and bounds. We're only 10 months in. The federal government isn't functioning, and the military is gearing up to fight against U.S. citizens. They're right on track with Project 2025. It's like... at a certain point, guys, we got to talk about this and just be like, these people are sick. And I don't know how we fix this as a society. How do we de-radicalize people who think that enforcing the law is somehow treason? Enforcing the law is fascism, apparently. We're not talking about creating new draconian authoritarian things. Now, I'm saying, like, if we really want to get serious about this, come talk to me. I'll give you some ideas. But these are, the Trump administration has been very tepid about all of this. They have been really like, what are we doing here? Why are we taking so long? Yeah, the average person, right? You go outside, you can go to the store, you can walk down the street, and you're going to be fine, right? It's not like it's just open rebellion and flames and smoke everywhere, right? It's not chaos. But that's not the point. We have these flashpoints. We have these couple of cities that are essentially in open rebellion. Why is he not doing anything about it? Why is he not enforcing the law? And that's the thing, is these people, anything they tell you, anything they say, you can't take them seriously in the sense of they don't have any, there's no logical basis. It's all off of this manufactured delusion. It's a manufactured delusion. It wasn't always like this either. They just kind of worked themselves up into this frenzy. And it's shocking. It's really scary. It really is. Let's see. Go back to the screen. See what else he has to say.
It goes over to the Senate, where they have a trial, and where every single one of these judges should be called into the floor of the Senate and forced to answer for their rulings. Your job, Speaker, is to put them up for impeachment and let the representatives vote on it. And every Republican.
Well, see, and that's the other thing, is how many judges are ever impeached? It almost never happens unless they are caught doing crimes. But this one, he said, Lance Corporal Veteran said, we've already arrested 2 judges. Really? One in Minnesota and one in Nebraska. Are they liberal judges or conservative judges? Try to keep the music kind of low. Sorry.
Republican and Democrat that chooses to vote no on impeaching a federal judge engaging in insurrection, judicial insurrection, goes on the record. And then we get to hold them accountable. But your job is to bring them up for impeachment. So again, why aren't you doing that?
So, okay, so let's talk about that too. So we're in this scary in-between point where every single action we take as a country, as a, whatever political faction you're on, right? If you're on the left or right, every action that's taken is going to either escalate or it's going to de-escalate the situation. And I don't know that there's any actions we can take that's actually going to de-escalate, because we saw what happened after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. You would think that immediately the left would come out and just say, oh my gosh, this is terrible. This is not how we want to live as a country. This is not. Very, 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 when I say very few leftists and Democrats said that this was wrong. It was shocking. I think it was the wake-up call for not only general Americans, but the whole world. We saw just how far gone this is. And yeah. Oh, I heard about that. Yeah. Liberal judges. One tried to help an illegal escape the courtroom, and another assaulted feds in the halls of the courthouse. Yeah. So the assaulting, inside of the courthouse, that's obvious. Like, you got to go. Like, you're completely deranged. The other one, giving cover, that one's interesting too. Now, I think obviously, yes, they got to go. It only reveals that, okay, you've got a couple that have been caught just completely deranged leftists. What it is revealing is it's just the tip of the iceberg. Those are the absolute worst examples that we've seen so far. Now imagine the ones that are down below the surface of the iceberg, the ones who are controlled and measured, the ones that are sleeper agents, essentially, the ones who are intelligent enough to say, my emotions say I want to be out in the streets with Antifa, but I'm holding the seat of power. So I'm gonna sit here and go like, during my trials and my cases, yes. All right. And then you use whatever the means of the power to manipulate, and then you slowly start manipulating, and your rulings are gonna, sway America. That's exactly what they're doing. It's insane. Actually, let me keep this up while I scroll. Scrolling through Twitter live is very risky. Uh-huh. Yeah, it is. It's man, there's just so much we can talk about. It's never ending. And this is just me, who I am a guy who is getting kind of back into the flow of things. I haven't been doing this. I've been basically offline significantly for years. I'll just pop up and do a video or something real quick and give you an update of my life. But I am just looking at this and I'm like, there's no way, man. It's so bad. It's so far gone. I never thought it would happen like this so quickly. I understand, a lot of historical to be slowly these things happen and then suddenly, and that's literally what's happening. That's where we're at. It's happening very quickly. Here, I'm going to put this on here because some people forget. Some of y'all enjoy it, but you forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Apparently, we're supposed to do that because it helps grow the channel and stuff. That's what I'm told. All right, so all right, I'm going to share this again. Breaking. Well, this is 19 hours ago. It's not breaking anymore, but breaking. Federal prosecutors say high-ranking Latin King gang member put out a $10,000 hit on the Border Patrol commander overseeing the agency's Midway Blitz operation in Chicago. Tim Pool says Insurrection Act. Yeah, I mean, the Supreme Court has been like really weak on stuff, and yeah, just because it's basically conservative win after win after win in the Supreme Court. They are very weak, and they refuse to rule or even listen to really impactful cases. Like, we have to be able to have good, clean, honest elections if this is what we want, right? Democracy, a republic if you can keep it. Well, we're in that if.
Portland is burning to the ground. You have agitators, insurrectionists. All you have to do is look at the television, turn on your television, read your newspapers. It's burning to the ground. The governor, the mayor, the politicians are petrified for their lives.
Mr. President,
And you have a judge like that, that judge ought to be ashamed of him.
I don't think I've ever seen Trump from behind like that. But yeah, you notice how they're starting to use the word insurrectionists. I mean, it is coming. I agree. It's coming, and we have to. It's the only way this stuff stops. And I don't think people understand how scary this is going to be. Like, yeah, I mean, there's an entertaining value to some of this stuff, but as a human being, right, there's these weird things that a lot of us don't want to admit. Like, certain things are like real life action movies to people, and there is a part of you who gets enjoyment out of it if it's not you living through it, right? But I think that we're getting to that point where it's about to get really spicy and really dangerous, and depending on what region is popping off, you're gonna have to plan your security better, like avoid certain areas that are active war zones, like actual war zones, because it's gonna happen. I don't see how we prevent this. Okay. All right. I want to look at some other stuff because there's always other stuff that's happening. So yeah, I appreciate everybody who's been tuning in, everyone that's been commenting. I appreciate that. If you could share the link out too, you'd be surprised how much that actually helps. Share it on your social media feed. All right, I'm trying to find. There was a couple other things that I was looking at that I was just like astonished. Civil War is trending on X. What is this? Hell no. Hell no what? Ah, of course, Democrats. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to play this whole thing. I'm just going to let it run. But if you didn't know, I don't know how you don't know. The Republican Party was founded in part to end slavery. To stop slavery and to give rights to black folks. If you didn't know that. And it was Democrats who were the party of slavery. And the truth of the matter of that situation, they'd say like in the Reagan time, the parties flipped. It's like, that's not really true. There is some accuracy to that, like certain stances, a couple of things literally swapped from red to blue, but and vice versa. But generally speaking, Democrats are the same that they've always been. Lance Corporal Veteran says, my church already has guys with guns at the front door since we're in a very liberal neighborhood, and we think we've been scouted by Antifa and a few liberal Karens. So CA gun laws be damned. Please tell me you're not in California. Oh, man. Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. People are going to do what they need to do to survive, right? So for those of you who don't know, I just basically moved out of Virginia, and I am setting up roots here in Pennsylvania, in the Pittsburgh region. And, you know, I thought Virginia's gun laws and stuff were like great. And then I come here and I'm like doing the research and went to a couple of ranges and stuff. And they were just talking about, you know, all these different things I could do. Or I asked them, like, do you know, certain gun rules at the range? And they looked at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, what do you mean? Can you rapid fire? Of course you can rapid fire. I'm like, okay. I was like, do you have any magazine capacity limits, or, you know, and they're just like, what are you talking about? They're like, this is the free state of Pennsylvania. I was like, what? I thought Pennsylvania was pretty liberal. And he's like, maybe you're talking about Philadelphia, but no, we have like pretty good gun laws here. And I'm like, what the so I was doing more research. I'm like, no, in Virginia, like, you are significantly more restricted. So as far as people having the ability or they find it necessary to arm themselves, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Being that I came from the security field, armed security field, physical security, I advocate for people, especially places of worship. If you're political, your business, whatever it may be, I advise people organize, but do so in a way that's intelligent. So one thing that people don't understand is if you are in a neighborhood watch and you use any kind of violence or force to stop a crime, anarcho-tyranny, remember, you can be charged with conspiracy and gang activity because you're organized in your efforts to stop a criminal, which is against the law. That's what the police are for, right? So you need to be very careful. Community watches are not constitutionally protected, but hold on, let me zoom in here a second. What is constitutionally protected is a militia. So if you join a local militia, what are they going to say? You can't do that. The fuck I can't. It says it in the Constitution. So just things to think about. You got to be smart. Now, obviously, if shit completely hits the fan, none of this really matters. But these are the small steps you can start taking now if you need to defend yourself. And as far as concealed carry and all that, like I'm not going to advocate for anybody to do anything that is against the local laws. But I'm going to tell you what, there are many people in my life who have very openly said that I don't have a concealed carry permit in states that require them and cities that required them, and I carry daily. So, you know, you got to do what you got to do, man. I have all the proper documentation I need, and I don't even know. I kind of wish it would be national, that you would make sure I'm not revealing anything on the stream. But my concealed carry in Pennsylvania, I don't think I actually have it over here. They issue them by county, which is really weird. Like a county will issue you a concealed carry, and it's good for the whole state, except for Philadelphia, which is weird. Philadelphia is like considered a first class city, and you need a special permit to carry in Philadelphia, which obviously is retarded. It's liberal bullshit, and they have the highest murder rate in the whole state, of course. Yeah, so it's issued by county, and it has your address. It has way too much information on here. Personally, I would prefer constitutional carry, which, if you don't know what that means, it just basically means you can carry your weapon with you. You don't need a permit. You're just an American. You're here in the country, and you have the right to carry a weapon. I wish that was everywhere. Okay. How long is this? This is 13 minutes. Obviously, we're not going to watch this whole thing, but I do want to hear what he has to say a little bit. Let's see.
Democrats are telling us they want a rematch of the Civil War.
The right wing in this country wants a rematch of the Civil War.
We watched this clip earlier. Who elected this clown? Actually, I answered my own question in my head. To my knowledge, he actually won by a very thin, I wouldn't even call it a majority. He won by thin margins. The way they do it, I think they do ranked choice voting. So he probably is like 20% of the vote, 15% of the vote. And he was just the highest. He got the highest amount of votes. So he just automatically became the mayor, even though something like 80% of the city didn't want him. It's insane. Worst kind of system ever.
I want that to sit in right now, because the president of the United States of America has declared war on the people of Chicago and people across America.
We don't want a rematch. The president hasn't declared war on anyone, but they've declared him public enemy number one.
It is time to recognize that while you thought the enemy was the immigrant, or you thought the enemy
Let me continue.
was the trans person, or you thought that the enemy was the black folk. It
Why do we have to deal with this?
is not any of those people on the list. It is the old white Nepo baby that is.
She's a stupid bitch. She's a stupid bitch.
One more time.
She's a stupid bitch.
This is what we have to deal with. And this is all performative also, by the way. She's pretending to be ghetto, black, aggressive. Well, she's black, but you know what I mean. She's pretending, she's trying to play that up. There are videos of her from a couple years before she got elected where she just talks like a normal person. A normal person. She doesn't sound like a caricature of a black woman living in a downtrodden community. She's actually very privileged, very educated, and she's just pretending to act ghetto.
Sitting in the White House.
Chicago's taking up arms. Over the weekend, this windy city looked like Fort Sumter.
Let's go! Get out of the road now!
Ford Fisher. Man, I had a couple run-ins with him. I say run-ins, like it wasn't negative. I've met him. We're in Portsmouth, Virginia, and he's doing his thing. Like he's an independent journalist. He has this news to share company. And they basically just get footage of these civil unrest situations, and he's all over the place. Like, this guy's amazing. And yeah, I mean, we were at this protest. It was a Boogaloo Boys protest. Basically, local ordinance in Portsmouth, Virginia, said that you cannot have your guns on any government property. And they were like, "Oh yeah, bet." And they showed up full kit, with their rifles and shit right in front of the police headquarters of Portsmouth. So that was very newsworthy. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go there. I was wearing my vest. I just I don't know, man. I've seen too much. I didn't know what to expect. But no, Ford Fisher was there with another guy too, and they were doing their thing. But yeah, cool. Okay. All right, here we go. Water bottles.
Thugs and bandanas threw rocks and bottles at ICE agents on patrol.
The water bottles. Okay, you can see right here. That looks like a rock to me.
Chicago police?
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found. One woman.
Yeah. So we talked about this earlier in the stream. What are we doing, chat? What are we going to do with the rioters that are throwing rocks at law enforcement? How do we stop this again? I know certain chats will block certain terms, but I believe the term unalive is allowed still.
Rifle rammed her car into an ICE vehicle, using it as a weapon. The ICE vehicle was disabled.
Yeah, the Ford Fisher stuff. Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I agree. I think he's a left winger. I knew that forever, but I respect him. I respect his work. What he does behind the scenes, I couldn't tell you, but what I do know is, yes, he's really good at getting the video. So I respect him in that aspect.
Leaving agents trapped and forced to open fire. The driver, Miramar Martinez, she was flagged last week for doxing agents and posting this, quote, "Hey, to all my gang, let's F these mother effers up. Don't let them take anyone." This was the second ramming incident over the weekend. The feds tried calling for backup, but Chicago PD was ordered to pull a Benghazi.
And again, per the chief of patrol, we have all the units that for 999. Chief of Patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not sending anybody over to that location.
Chicago PD says they did show up, but the dispatch you just heard said they were told to stand down. The mayor of...
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, okay, so they're trying to do their job, at least some of them, and they're being ordered not to stop the rioting, not to assist federal law enforcement. It's getting kind of insurrection-y to me.
Chicago doesn't think all lives matter.
Do you want Chicago police not to help ICE agents?
Our police department will respond to every incident in which their services are needed to keep people safe, protecting the fundamental right to be able to protest, ensuring the maximum safety of our residents.
Johnson's...
Let's go back a second. Look at his facial expressions as he's answering this.
Do you want Chicago police not to help ICE agents?
Our police department will respond to every incident in which their services are needed to keep people safe, protecting the fundamental right to be able to protest, ensuring the maximum safety of our residents.
Johnson's...
We're gonna have to lock him up. I don't know how else we fix this. We're gonna have to lock this guy up.
Signaling that the police's priority is protecting protesters above everyone else. Agents are getting attacked with cars, projectiles, and being shot at across the country. But Governor Ribbs is declaring war on ICE.
Trump and the thuggery that his
This is the Illinois governor.
agents have brought has actively made us less safe. The state of Illinois is going to use every lever at our disposal to resist this power grab and get Noam's thugs the hell out of Chicago.
You know, I'm
not afraid.
25 people were
you will be afraid if you continue on this path, and you're one of the first governors in U.S. history to be arrested under the Insurrection Act, and you face like 10 years in prison. You're going to be scared then. And I think we should do it fairly, right? I really do. I think that Trump needs to give them 24 to 48 hours and say, listen, pay the fuck attention. The adults are speaking here. You've got 1 or 2 days. Clean this up, do your job, enforce the law, and stop the unrest, and stop giving cover for the rioters, or we're going to arrest you because you're actively obstructing the federal government. You're in open rebellion. You're an insurrectionist. And then you just go in and arrest them. Give them the chance. Give them the out. Give them the opportunity to back down. But if they don't,
shot over the weekend in Chicago. ICE is there because of the dereliction of duty by Biden and the Democrats.
You have black women with MAGA hats on in Chicago, all over the place. They want the guard to come in. There was one woman, she was great today. She said, you know what? I don't care if it's the National Guard, the Army, the Marines, the Air Force. I don't care who comes in as long as we're safe. And that's the way most of the public feels.
Why don't Democrats want to protect black women? First, they didn't stand up.
Okay, Jesse. Okay, we get it. We get it. How do I minimize this? Let's see what else we can look at. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. So I just this is what we're dealing with, folks. This is what we're dealing with. That's a great question. I'm not sure. I think I'm on like episode 4 or 5 of the Handmaid's Tale. I actually enjoyed it. It's because it's complete ridiculousness. Definitely not for kids, but it's completely ridiculous. The entire premise that somehow these far right, basically Mormons, take over all of America, or at least huge swaths of America. It doesn't make any sense at all. But it's a pretty good story, actually, if you can get past the complete ridiculousness of it. Oops. Yeah. Government shutdown. That's still a thing. That's right. This is crazy. Does anyone else in chat have something that they saw that I can add to this? Treason. Oh, Lord. Pam Bondi. I guess we can talk about this. It's kind of annoying, but I'll put it up. Pam Bondi now says she never had the Epstein client list, despite the fact that she was claiming that the list was sitting on her desk. It's almost like she's being performative and wait for the sounder.
She's a stupid bitch.
February, you made a public claim that the Epstein client list was, quote, sitting on my desk right now for review, end of quote. You then produced already public information and no client list at a major media event hosted at the White House. Attorney General Bondi, why did you publicly claim to have the Epstein client list waiting for your review and then produce nothing relevant to that claim?
Senator Durbin, if you listen to my entire clip on that, I said I had not reviewed it yet, that it was sitting on my desk along with the JFK files, the Martin Luther King files. And I said I had not yet reviewed it. And if you see our memo on Epstein, you will see, excuse me, our memo on Epstein clearly points out that there was no client list, our July 6th memo.
Going back to the Epstein files.
Okay, girl. Okay. Does anyone believe her? Because I don't. This is one of these things. Like, we have so much more things going on, you know. And this, to me, this is important, right? But this isn't like a major thing that we absolutely have to drop everything to talk about, right? We he's pretending like it's all war, all destruction, all bombs, all smoke and ash and shooting nonstop 24/7. That's not reality. Like, it's this reality is not a movie where it's literally one scene of action to the other, back to back to back. That's not real. That's not how that works. What a fucking moron. Let's see. I need more screens. Like I'm like straining my neck. Actually, in thinking about this, I mean, this is amazing setup I have already, but I'm thinking of how to do it. I have a ginormous TV screen as one of my screens, and it's too big. Actually, it's one of these things like it's annoyingly big, and it's like really close to my face. Actually, you can't see it, but right where the camera is, the camera's right on top of it, so that's why it's kind of like up. It's a big ass screen, and I need it like I need this to be smaller because I think I need a good 3 screens. Let's get to some of this chat. Lance Corporal Veteran says one of my predictions was that was the left will either take away the guns or get guns to arm the left. Well, they aren't in power and are jumping the shark, and some guys weeks ago said the leftists are arming up. They've always been kind of arming up, but they've always pretended like they're against guns, even though their cities and towns and communities are, the high crime Democrat areas. They've always had guns the entire time. And then they're just, why does the right and the Republicans, they just hate us. They hate our communities and they will do anything to stop gun violence. It's like, well, they are trying to do something to stop gun violence. It's a really simple couple of steps here. You use the police to arrest the criminals. You don't let the criminals out of jail or prison. You give them nice long sentences. And then you empower the local citizens to use deadly force as necessary against a violent existential threat against their life and their property. Guess what happens when you do that? All of a sudden, their crime goes away. Won't be surprised if they loot gun stores and National Guard armories. I think the gun store thing can happen. The National Guard armories, I mean, they're going to have to you're going to have to really that's like, it's really bad. They're going to be shooting their way in. Like, that's like full open rebellion. That's my point is it's the reality of these situations. Like, people think that when it means civil war, that's just not possible. Like, we'll never see a civil war in America. Like, and they think like it's going to be literally Republicans wearing red uniforms or red armbands and Democrats wearing blue armbands in uniform and shooting each other, lined up in the streets, shooting at each other from, cover barricaded positions. Like, that's not reality. And they think it's going to be everywhere. Every single city, every single region, every town is going to be, it's like, that's not even remotely how that's going to be, how that's going to play out. It's going to be flashpoints at these major cities that are in open rebellion, and it will, how far it spreads, that's what I'm not sure about. I know we're definitely going to have what we will consider a civil war. Historically, it'll be a second one, but I'm wondering how intense it's going to be. I think that a lot of these leftists and Democrats are very weak. They're all mouth. I think they, when actually punched in the nose, they will shut the fuck up and they'll go back to, it'll be like a factory reset. You just bop a couple of them on the nose and, and they're gonna start acting right again. And obviously that's not the entirety. Like, that's a very funny, light way of saying bopping them on the nose. What that actually means, unfortunately, it's going to be a lot more serious than that. But once people realize, oh, I can't do crimes anymore. I can't go looting that Walgreens or, you know, whatever, these random stores in the mall, the jewelry stores in the mall, doing these big organized raids and stuff, stealing thousands and tens of thousands of stuff. When they realize that there's deadly consequences to that, I guarantee you this stuff stops like really quick. Man. I'm gonna ignore that other comment because I don't want to give people ideas. I can tell you people can't physically stay in a fight. They always have to restart and resupply and come back again. Sometimes same place or other location. Yeah. I would imagine, again, this is somebody who didn't serve in the military. I haven't been in any like actual armed conflict or anything like that. It was like low level, you know, the Ferguson riots and stuff like that. And when I was in Ferguson, it was very peaceful. It was very minimal incidents, actually. It was during the weekend of resistance when I was covering it. And, you know, I haven't actually been in a situation where bullets are flying at me or in my area. I've had a very pampered, privileged life, and I accept that. I understand that. But I've also educated myself and exposed myself to the realities of conflict in the sense of, I don't know, I did some research and I talked to people, and nothing about this is going to be fun or exciting. Like I said, we talked about it before. There's a part of you as a human, you know, especially when you're bored, you might take some enjoyment out of it, of watching it. But living in it, like anyone who lives in a major city around the country, and you're going to have to be faced with, do I pack up and leave for the safety of myself and my family, and just abandon the area? Or do I risk being a possible casualty in this conflict? People don't understand that these things will just flare up. You're going to have these pockets of insurrectionists, of insurgents, even these organized armed factions. They're just going to start shooting. They're going to pop up and do ambushes and, you know, all these things. I hate saying a lot of this stuff out loud because I feel like I'm giving people ideas, but I also want to say, like, people need to be prepared. So I'm just going to say it. You're going to see drone attacks. That's going to be the huge thing, just like you're seeing in Russia and Ukraine and parts of the Middle East doing terrorism. They're going to figure out, I can just buy this $20 trashy drone, strap a small little explosive on it, and just fly it at a politician or whoever, and local politicians or one of these ICE commanders or whatever. And I don't think people understand. Again, I was in the security industry very recently. I've been in federal law enforcement seminars where we had these security briefing, you know, conferences. And the biggest threat right now that is being talked about is drones. And when I say there is a level of terror in the eyes of these federal agents that are presenting this information to me and the people in the room, I don't think you understand. Like, I can tell you that these are strong, you know, 50-year-old federal agents who are giving these lectures, but the look behind the eyes as they're talking about it, even me regurgitating it, I'm kind of getting like chills, because I don't think people understand how terrifying this is, the world that we are in. And the second this stuff starts popping off, it's going to be nasty. It's going to be ugly. And you don't understand the levels of sophistication and the things that people will weaponize to win this conflict. You remember during the civil rights era when you were in school and you were learning about, you know, the decade plus of terrorism and bombings. You had the Democrats were bombing Republican churches. You know, the white racist people were attacking black churches, interracial churches, civil rights leaders. There were bombings and shootings and stuff. It was a campaign of terror, right? This is what we're seeing the left is starting to do now. The modern Democrats are starting to do this now. And the second they realize that they can use drones effectively, it's going to be a whole nother situation. Yeah. One of the, I'll give you a quick thing on that. So there's multiple ways to defend against drones. I mean, obviously in Russia and in Ukraine, they're using shotguns like birdshot or buckshot to take down these drones. But general defenses, there's electronic defenses you could use that could kind of block the signals, but that's just like the cheap commercial drones, right? If you can basically have counter anti-drone nets, electronic warfare, and they basically just put this like bubble around it that, you know, a drone comes into that bubble and it'll either most of the time they're not going to just fall out of the sky. It'll just like return to sender. It'll basically say, it'll read back an error, like it'll block it from flying into a certain airspace. That's what the president, you know, these high level political leaders, they all have those drone mitigation shields, electronic warfare shields. But the ones that are really scary are the fly-by-wire drones, the ones that we're seeing in Ukraine and Russia. They're literally on like a fiber optic cable, and they can fly for miles to their target. And unless that wire is severed, you're not going to be able to use electronic warfare to shoot it down. They have these really, our technology is really advanced, but it's also kind of clunky still. They have these things that look like bazookas, basically, and you aim it at the drone and it literally fires like a microwave at it and fries it. That's not even going to be effective for the heavily shielded drones. You could just get shielding, like physical shielding, and it'll be ineffective. You're going to have to literally shoot it down. But the most cost-effective thing that you're going to see is like actual nets, physical netting around buildings and stuff. It'll literally be like you can do like regular cord netting. You'll see that some are going to have like metal mesh netting, and it's going to literally they're going to build these nets around buildings. So it's going to be so weird to look at, but it'll be at basically a safe distance. So you'll have these low level drones, commercial sized drones they'll fly in and they'll try to detonate, but they won't. I mean, they'll get caught up in the net, and it'll just give people time to escape, and you know, it'll help. That's what you're going to see. And it's going to be a totally weird world, Wally world. And there's all kinds of other things we can talk about the drone warfare for sure. But let's see. Yeah. That's the other thing is like, it's terrorism, right? So they are trying to make us be afraid to just live and do our thing. And we're all going to start making changes in our lives to you know, fix the security and make sure that we're a little bit more safe. And you're going to have to mitigate these risks yourselves. And it is what it is. Like it's going to be hard times, but we're going to make it through. We are winning. We will win. I have no doubt of that. We're going to have a nice, good reset of the country. The political this whole like insanity that we've been seeing is going to go away. But in the meantime, it's going to be really scary and ugly. And people need to start preparing. I've always kind of been a prepper at heart. Now that I have a home, I'm slowly acquiring more things, food, water, ammunition, and I have plenty of room to store it. So I'm not going to go hungry. We'll say that. I think I've got maybe 2 months supply. It's very minimal, but it's enough where I'll be okay. I need to get my garden going. There's a garden on the property and there is 2 fruit trees. Not that I can really do much with the fruit. I'm diabetic, but what we can do is I could trade or sell that fruit for other stuff. So, all right, let's see. Oh my gosh. Have you guys heard about this? South Carolina judge's home caught on fire. And I believe the left was immediately saying that it's like right-wing terrorism. However, it was ruled not arson by police. I believe a gas tanker or something leaked and exploded. I'm going to play this in a second. But what I want to start talking about is, what do y'all think in chat? What do you think we are going to have to do about this? Because at a certain point, we're going to have to say that this isn't journalism. This isn't news, right? This is something entirely different. This is propaganda. This is slander. This is libel. It's defamation. And we need to start pulling licenses, FCC fines, and in the egregious cases, we might need to start making some arrests. But let's hear what she had to say.
When we come back, what we're learning about the fire that destroyed the home of a South Carolina Circuit Court judge who faced criticism from Trump officials after a ruling she made against the Trump administration. It comes amid a surge in hostility and threats against judges, as well as criticism directly from the Trump administration, including for Judge Goodstein, after she temporarily blocked the Justice Department from accessing the files of millions of registered voters in South Carolina. Mary McCord is still with us. Mary, what questions do you have based on what we're hearing?
Avocados and nut trees. I have a walnut tree. So I don't know if it's a fruit-bearing tree or like a nut-bearing walnut tree. I think it's black walnut, but I don't know if it's the right kind of walnut to produce nuts. I'll find out when it's in season. Avocados. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to avocados. Actually, let me take that back. We did the allergy test. It showed that I wasn't allergic to them. I have a high sensitivity. Like I'll eat an avocado and about 30 minutes later, I'll just throw it up. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I love avocados.
So far,
this is the kind, again, we've talked today already about crossing Rubicons, right? And when you're starting to attack judges because of their rulings, we're in a...
Read the lower third. Fire destroys home of judge who ruled against Trump. This is MSNBC. And when it becomes Insurrection Act time, there's a lot of hard questions that we as Americans are going to have to ask ourselves. Obviously, Democrats and the left are going to freak out and disagree with anything that happens. But the rest of us, the moderates, the centrists, the conservatives, we're going to have to sit here and amongst ourselves, we will be the majority. Amongst ourselves, we're going to have to figure out how far do we take this, because to me, what the left-wing media is doing is incredibly dangerous. Fire destroys home of judge who ruled against Trump. That's the lower third. That's insane. It was not an arson. They figured out, the police said, yeah, it looked like their gas line or their propane tank or something like that blew. It just happened to be around the same time that Trump made a comment.
Very, very dangerous position in this country. And it makes judges fearful. It makes prosecutors fearful, as we know. It makes others in positions where they could be criticized by Donald Trump fearful. And he needs to know the power of his voice and how people respond to that.
Y'all need to know the power of your voice, especially the people on the news and the platforms, the politicians. Y'all say reckless shit all the time. What do you mean? Trump needs to watch what he's saying. Like, come on, guys. Oh no, I have a perfect sounder for this. This is devious. Woman in a Transformer shirt has just called us fascists for carrying a banner which reads that women are adult human females.
Me down, fascist. Fucking. I don't give a fuck who you are. The fact that you feel this.
A little racially or a little gender neutral looking, yeah, maybe non-binary or something. I don't know. Is this a I mean, the shirt says Transformers, so
way makes you completely immoral, intolerant of anybody. I don't care if you have a fucking master's degree. I don't care if you feel like you're tall and proud. Go fuck yourselves. This is absolutely fucking disgusting. I can't believe you. And you can take your fucking Blue Lives Matter flag with you.
one more time.
Nobody else.
All right. Thank you. That was very entertaining. We live in a very weird reality, folks. Okay, here's another one. I just like we're living in the Black Mirror reality. Governor Newsom press office with a gray check mark, which means it's official government. This is official verified government account. And it's a political cartoon. Honey, did you post something negative about the regime? With guys in tactical gear at the front door. Interesting. So they're basically implying that it's going to be Republicans busting down doors of Democrats because of their speech. This person, Adrian Curry, the man who arrested lone surfers, incited and promoted riots, helped his party pressure Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to silence half the country, let his state burn after years of warnings, and went out to eat and partied while his constituents were locked up at their home, just posted this. This is what we're dealing with. These people are hypocrites. Absolute hypocrites. This is interesting. 78% of Americans support deporting illegal immigrants who commit crimes. I mean, lowering prescription drug prices for Medicare recipients and low-income patients. I mean, this is broke down by which, support and oppose. Yeah, 86-14 issue. Like everybody supports that. I mean, this is crazy. Like, I want to know how many people they pulled on this, but deporting immigrants who are here illegally and have committed crimes, 78%. Well, let's break this down for a second, folks. When people probably got pulled that question, they were just like, "Oh, they're illegal immigrants, and they committed crimes." Well, yeah, deport them, of course. What they're failing to understand is them being here illegally is them committing a crime. So 78% of America wants to deport illegal aliens, criminal aliens. Cool. I'll take it. I mean, there's nothing to talk about. If that's correct, then okay, deport them all. It's just more evidence that the Democrats, the left, are just, everything about them is so fake and performative. They intentionally give cover to these people, and they'll show on repeat these crying mothers and children. "Oh, don't take my daddy. Oh, no, senor, no. Chingalo, chingale." And, they're cussing out in Spanish and stuff. Chinga ice. I think that's how you would say that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's sad for your family, I guess, that the dad is a criminal immigrant, and he's a member of a gang or something, international gang or even a cartel, and he got arrested and he's being deported. It's like, okay, am I supposed to feel bad for you? Like, I don't understand. And then just the regular run-of-the-mill types, right? What about those people? Well, you're separating families. That's the message, right? That's what the talking point is. And I say, okay, so you're saying that we're separating families, but did you know? Did you, the viewer, know that they say they're separating families, but why don't the families just go with him? It's really that simple. It's really not that complicated. And in fact, a lot of people don't understand that based on America and some of these big wealthy nations that actually give a damn about their borders, it's totally different here than other countries. Like, you being an American, like the family members of these illegal immigrants who are actual American citizens, you can go to these other countries. They will happily take you into their country. So what are we crying about? Why are we pretending like you can't just leave with him? You're taking away the father of my children. Okay, go with him. What bye? Like, what are we talking about here? I mean, this is really interesting. Look at this. There's more. Undertaking a full-scale effort to find and eliminate fraud and waste in government expenditures. 75% of Americans want that, and only 25% oppose. I mean, again, it's like obvious. You would think this would be an obvious issue. And if you look on the right, it tells you which party is in support. Closing the border with added security and policies that discourage illegal crossings. 68%. 68% of America agrees. I mean, it's like, I don't know what to tell y'all. It's like, this is democracy, right? This is what everyone keeps talking about and saying, like, this is what the best system in all of history was, right? Well, the majority has spoken. It's really simple. Just talked about this. Drone wars are insane, and the future of combat will just be robots fighting at light speed. That's not AI. It just went from like 0 to 300 miles an hour, like it immediately. Now imagine if this had an explosive attached to it. You're not shooting that out of the sky, right? Like if it's at a platform nearby, you know, a launching platform nearby, and somebody just goes, "That's the target." Yeah. And they hit the button. Ding. And then it does this. And then boom. You see boom in the distance. It blew up. You're not shooting that down. Now you're gonna have to use automatic countermeasures and things like that could shoot it down. There's these cool nets, if you haven't seen. They have these anti-drone nets. Basically, it looks like a shotgun or a grenade launcher kind of thing, and it shoots these nets into the air and it spreads, and it'll basically catch it. And obviously the blades won't be able to go, so it'll fall out of the sky. There's other ones I've seen where they're using like wires. It'll shoot out like these little balls and it'll like spread, and it'll have like wires, and it'll just get caught up, and it has the same effect. Scary times. Scary times. I'm just seeing a lot of AI generated videos. Elon is posting stuff about Grok, the new Grok Imagine. Oh, Grokopedia. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Grokopedia. So, if you haven't heard, Elon Musk is creating a direct competitor with Wikipedia. 100% support this, by the way. There is no question we need to have a counter to all of the left-wing propaganda. They have controlled everything. I have some concerns, obviously. We're living in this bifurcated world, right? So I, like most of you probably watching, care more about the truth, and we want just neutral truth, no bias or spin or propaganda. We just want the truth. We want to be able to open a digital encyclopedia and just get accurate information out of it. We don't want to hear some fucked up, weird, twisted, biased article entry. I am concerned that Grokopedia will be very right-wing coded and centered, and it will just be like a left-wing version of Wikipedia, or I'm sorry, right-wing version of Wikipedia. Now, I think it will be more center. It will be more centrist, but it's one of these things that I'm kind of concerned about. But yeah, so that's what he's working on. He said it should be available in about 2 weeks, open to the public. And we'll have similar things. It'll be similar setup where users can add entries to things and edit. The only difference is on the back end, it'll be powered by AI as well to help filter all the bullshit. Elon Musk is a very smart guy, obviously, and he actually listens to what people are saying. one of the criticisms, huge criticisms of AI right now is that we're getting like really shitty answers from ChatGPT and Grok and the other ones, Gemini and all that. They're very left-wing coded answers because all of the information it's pulling from is very left-wing biased. So if 20 news agencies or news media organizations are out there and 18 of them are left-wing coded, and then you have these AIs are learning from the information that are from these authoritative sources, well, guess what? It's going to give you a left-wing coded answer. And that's the problem that Grok has been facing. Obviously, ChatGPT and the others, for the most part, they're obviously intentionally trying to put left-wing messages in the answers. Elon is trying to do a real answer, a more neutral answer with Grok. And yeah, that's the problem he's facing. So if he creates an environment, a knowledge pool for Grok to feed off of and learn from, it will compete with that and give better answers. So yeah, I mean, this is the world we're living in. It's coming to techno feudalism. I think that's the world we're gearing towards. We're going to have these like Dune universe where you're going to have these. I think we're going, unfortunately, towards a world that's similar to the Aliens universe mixed with Dune. So you're going to have like these mega corporations. You'll have like Google, you'll have X or Grok. These will be like major corporations, and they're going to have their own security forces. They're going to be basically governments. Unfortunately, that's where I think we're going. This is very concerning. Yeah, I'm concerned. Now, to be fair, I don't know if this one's actually doing it itself, but previously we've had some of these Tesla bots that they were literally human controlled during these events. It wasn't real, but I think they're getting to the point now where they are actually able to program it to do these things. I'm a little concerned. Like, why are we teaching the robots kung fu? I just, I don't know. Maybe not a good idea. I feel like we've seen this movie before. Probably should not be teaching them kung fu. I don't know. I don't know. Probably just not a good idea. Let's not teach the AI-powered robots kung fu. Not that that's really going to matter. It's just like we're only making it faster, our demise faster. Oh, gosh. There's just so much AI stuff posted on here now. No way. Chat. CNN informs its viewers that if you see a dog reporting the news online, it's likely an AI fake.
Bruh.
You know what's really scary, though? Is a lot of people don't know. Boomers. Hell, even some Gen Xers, Gen X and boomers and older. They don't know. These videos are too real to them, and they're just like, oh, this is a thing now. How do we even respond to this as a society? How are we supposed to respond to this as a society? People think this shit is real. And then also it's sad that CNN feels like they have to say that it's fake. It's like, obviously dogs aren't going to be presenting the news. This is where we're at.
Okay. The most advanced offensive weapons on the planet. Things that none of the superpowers have. Developed by Israel, shared with America. Well, I can tell.
I'm not getting into Israel. I'm going to keep scrolling. That's a whole thing I'm not trying to do. All right. I'll bite. Hold on. Let's see.
Not only do I regret ever voting Democrat, I now believe that it has always been a Democratic mission to not only make Black people's lives worse than it has ever been through policies and laws, but to also make Black people racist and to make white people hate Black people even more.
This is an interesting take, and that's because humans operate typically based off of incentive structures. Jeff, what do you mean? Let's put this into the context that he's talking about. If you pay attention to the Democratic Party, a majority of the issues they talk about are people who are victims. They tell you you're a victim and they victimize you, and then they sell you on the fact that they have the solution to your victimization. Hey, those white people, those Republicans are racist, and we're gonna fight those racist people for you, so vote for us. Hey, the reason you're not doing well and the reason you're struggling financially is because the system is against you because you're Black, and those racist Republicans are holding you down. Vote for us Democrats. But here's the thing, since Democrats have made most of their issues about victimization, it actually doesn't help Democrats if Black people start doing better and don't need a savior. But if you can keep Black people thinking white people are racist, and you can keep Black people thinking that you're the one who's going to fight those racists, you can keep Black people voting for you. If Black people stay in broken homes and we continue to not make money, we continue to stay overweight, we continue to fail in many of these very important categories, that allows the Democrats to continue to point at history, white people, and racism. And they can present themselves as the savior to that problem, or the ones who will provide a solution, the solution to that problem. But again, they're not actually incentivized to solve the problem for Black people. They're actually incentivized to keep Black people struggling. And they actually are incentivized to get white people to be racist towards Black people. If there's plenty of racism to go around, Democrats have something they can continually run on. And it makes their job easy because they don't have to show results. They don't have to really be accountable to the things that they're not doing, because they can say, hey, those other people don't like you because your skin color, we do. And Black people line up to go vote for that. Many of us have not woken up to this yet. Also think about this. When do you see Democrats talking about personal accountability and decision making? When do you see Democrats saying, hey, you have the power to make better decisions and you need to do that? You need to stop playing so many video games and relaxing and go work and learn some skills that can make you money.
Because Democrats are the party of hedonism. You know, obviously, you know, actually, I'm going to start doing some streaming for video game streaming here in a little bit. We're doing the politics section, but I would like to do some video game streaming as well. But yeah, the Democrats are the party of hedonism.
Democrats saying, hey, you need to go get in the gym. You need to walk. You need to stay in shape. They don't talk about that because, again, the more Black people are struggling, the more Democrats can be the savior, and the more they can blame it on the history of the white man and racism, which again, if Black people are blinded by racism, Democrats really don't have to produce anything. They can just say those other people don't like you because of your skin color, so vote for us. And like I said, we go run and line up at the polls to do it. We need to wake up. Also, just a reminder, I have a free email newsletter where I give you morning updates about what's going on. This is one of the only places I cannot be censored. The link is in my profile. Just go there, click that link. You'll see the screen here. Drop your email in, hit subscribe, and you'll be good to go.
Cool. Yeah, that's a pretty good video. Unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with. Yeah, Democrats. Nope. All right, let me see if this is going to work. All right, I will be right back. All right. Yeah. I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. Jesus. Oh no. Is this going to be my life now? I actually work. Okay. I have a full-time job. I will not be streaming multiple hours a day like this every day, but it is what it is. I definitely want to use this day off to do this. What video game? You know what? I haven't even thought about it. Let's pull up some of my game clients. Let's pull up Steam, Epic Games. Yeah, let's see what we got going on. I'll drop this stream and then I'll make another one. I want to separate the politics from the gaming stuff. It's easier to make clips and stuff out of it too. But can I? Oh, I'm still sharing this. Hold on. Things are popping up. What I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to accomplish is sharing the screen of the game engine. I'll probably do an entire window. Yeah. Let's see if that'll work. Yeah. Day of the week is it? It's Tuesday. What is? Hold on one second. I have this really awesome window right here behind me. It's octagonal. I kind of wish now my favorite shape, just completely random, but my favorite shape is a hexagon. But this octagonal window is pretty cool too. Let's see if you can zoom up. Anyway, I was looking at it. It sounded like trash. It is a trash can or a trash garbage collectors. It's so the street right behind my house is actually a different city. I'm right on the border, so they've got their own trash day than different from mine. Okay. All right, that's good. All right, let's see. What can we play? Can I move my face to the other side? Surely I can do this live. It's like not letting me move. Really? It's not going to let me move my face? What if I just do this? That's better. Let's make it smaller. Thank you, Brandon. It's Tuesday. Let's see. What can we play? What would I want to play that's actually downloaded? Yeah, Fallout 4. Well, yeah, 7 Days to Die. It's one of my top games for sure. Fallout 4, Hogwarts Legacy, Mech Warriors 5, Civilization 5, Space Engineers, Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. Good classic, by the way. War Thunder. The Complex. This is on my list to play, and I haven't played it yet. So it's basically like it's like a full game of Backrooms lore. I think I might actually do that. Once Human. Oh my god. If you have not played Once Human, let me tell you, this game is like peak. When this first came out, I played it with my friends online. Absolute peak. This is like everything I wanted into a game, pretty much. You have the the theme of it is basically a combination of the SCP universe mixed in with what's that other game called? Surely I have it in here. Locally installed, uncategorized. It's probably down here. Or was it installed on? I've got a lot of games. A lot of games. I think it's over on Epic. Hold on. Go through my library on Epic. Why is it? Show me everything. Stop. I have more games than this. What's happening? Are these just what's installed? No, recently purchased. No, show me everything. What the fuck? This is weird. I'm sorry. It's like games are missing out of my Epic. Maybe I'm just scrolling too fast through Steam. Let me see. Homefront. Oh my gosh, I remember that game. It was glitchy as hell though. Where is that game? I'm convinced it was on Epic. And I can't remember what it's called, but it was basically like this FBI agent lady. And there's this, she gets recruited for this this government bureau that basically deals with anomalous things. And I can't remember what the game is called for the life of me, because it's not showing up on my Epic for whatever reason. It's actually kind of annoying me that I can't find this. It should show all my games, and it's not in here. I gotta look this up. This is starting to make me mad. Bannerlord. Cool. What's Bannerlord about? Sci-fi anomalies. Like, I have the visual of the game in my head, like what it's named and everything, and I can't. My brain is just not. It's just not working. No, it's not any of these games. I'm getting mad now. Oh, wait. Here it is. This game. What is this game? I loved that game. I'll just have to scroll through this stupid article. I'm so mad. Control. It's called Control. Where is it? And why is it not on my freaking computer anymore? It says it's in library, so why is it not showing up? Okay, that's weird. I gotta figure this out. This is starting to piss me off. Recently purchased. Okay, so shouldn't be all games alphabetical A to Z. Why is it now? As soon as I just clicked it, now it's showing all my games. That's so weird. But anyway, the whole point of that is that the game I think I'm going to be playing is the Complex Expedition. Basically, that Backrooms game. It's very sci-fi. There's probably entities in the backrooms and all that stuff. I'm definitely going to be checking this out. All right, folks, I am going to take a lunch break, and I will be back on here on a different stream, and we'll be playing The Complex. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in just about, say, like 30 minutes. See you in about 30 minutes. All right. So thank you so much for watching, if indeed you still are, and I will see you all next time.